All right, here we go. Retake. So I just listed here, this is your original assessment. So make sure you have your original test paper in front of you, looking at that to give yourself feedback on any mistakes you made. This list here in purple, those are the numbers allowed to stay inside the radical. These numbers in green are the numbers that you're looking for when you divide by these. So I took this number 147. Normally I start with the smallest and divide by 2, but it's not even. So I jumped right to 3, and guess what? I divided by this purple number and I saw one of these green numbers and I was good to go. So that was square root of 49 times 3, square root the part that comes out. And this is what was happening. You were putting in this box the coefficient and putting in this box the radicand, just like you've done on all of the practices through this. So square root of 147 simplifies down to 7 square root of 3. Let's try this again. This one already has a coefficient of 7. I'm going to write it because it's important and I need it there. But then I'm going to start dividing this 500. I'm dividing by these purple numbers until I find one of these green ones. So 500 divided by 2 is 250. That is not a perfect square. 500 divided by 3 is some kind of decimal that is not a perfect square. 500 divided by 5 is 100, which I didn't keep this green list going long enough, but I sure hope you're recognizing now 100 is always a perfect square. So here I go, 100 times 5. Now I get to square root the part that square roots nicely. That's the perfect square part. The 7 is still here, but now we're going to multiply it by 10 because the square root of 100 is 10. And once you've done that action, you take it out. The 5 will stay inside. Now I clean this up. My coefficient is 70. My radicand is 5. Try another one. Number 3. Negative 5 is already a coefficient, so I leave it there. 128. I'm going to start dividing by these purple numbers until I see a green number, and it doesn't take long. 128 divided by 2 is 64. So this is 64 times 2. I'm going to square root the nice perfect square part, and after I square root it, I get 8. I bring that out and multiply it by my 5, and I leave the 2 inside. Negative 40, some of you just forgot the negative, and a 2 inside. Okay, when I move to the next screen, all of the work is going to be there. I'm going to talk you through what I did, or you can just pause the video and look at it, whatever's easier for you. This answer over here came from this. I split up 125 into 25 times 5, and then you'll notice that you always kind of have a hint. If you're doing addition, you can probably guess that these are gonna wanna combine. So as soon as I got 25 times 5, I was immediately thinking, does 5 go into 45 and give me a perfect square? And it sure did. Okay, so that gives you a big hint about what's gonna be left inside. Those are probably gonna match for an addition problem. So that led me to 5 square root of 5 plus 3 square root of 5, which is 8 square root of 5. When you do addition, the radicands have to be the same, and then they end up the same. Okay, all right, look at this process for question 5. That's my first step. I split it up. I found 25 times 3 and 9 times 3. Now I square rooted things. I multiplied those coefficients. Some of you simply, your only mistake on this assessment was that you forgot about integer rules right here. Different signs subtract, take the sign of the one that goes farther. Be careful with that. The last thing you had to be able to do besides just simplify and add and subtract is you also had to be able to multiply, okay? I'm gonna tell you one of the mistakes that happened is that some of you just typed this in for your final answer. What you've done is correct. You're not wrong, you're just not finished. So don't type this part in. That came from multiplying the coefficients. Negative 5 times negative 2 is 10. Multiplying the radicands, 6 times 50 is 90. You've done the correct first step, just don't stop there. You still have a perfect square in there, 9 times 10, so finish that up. So remember, after you multiply, make sure you finish it. If you have any questions, email me. You're gonna try the practice, and then once you hit 80% or higher, you can try the retake.